In a world where humanity's identity hangs in the balance, Captain Eliana Ree and her crew land on the mysterious planet Kepler 22b. Confronted by the Lumina, an alluring yet enigmatic species, they face a terrifying choice: embrace a new existence or fight for who they are. What will you sacrifice to hold onto your humanity in the face of unimaginable change? If you dream of entering universes or planets where humans shine when they meet unknown races, subscribe, turn on notifications, and you will be happy every day with new wonderful sci-fi stories. Well, let's go. The Horizon, a sleek, crescent-shaped vessel, glided through the deep, endless galactic void, the soft hum of its engines a gentle rhythm that resonated throughout its polished corridors. Inside, the crew prepared for the much-anticipated mission, gathering in the command room as they approached their destination. Kepler 22b loomed ahead, a jewel of lush, vibrant landscapes wrapped in a shimmering atmosphere that promised both wonder and danger. Captain Eliana Ree, a dedicated and resilient leader in her late 30s, stood at the forefront, her sharp green eyes reflecting both excitement and trepidation. Long, dark hair fell elegantly over her shoulders, framing a face marked by determination and purpose. "This is it, crew," she announced, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions twisting in her stomach. A wave of anticipation swept through the room as her loyal team of 12 specialists gathered around, ready to make history. The crew was a carefully selected ensemble, each member an expert in their field, prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Horizon descended onto the alien soil, the landing was remarkably smooth, and the crew disembarked, stepping onto the ground of Kepler 22b. The air buzzed with an energy that felt both alien and inviting, filled with vibrant sounds of nature unlike anything they'd known. They engulfed themselves in the sights of ochre-hued foliage and towering flora, the hues dancing as a gentle breeze caressed them. Dr. Mateo Sanchez, the team's botanist, short, with a wild tuft of curly hair and perpetually smudged glasses, was the first to kneel down, fingers curling into the iridescent soil beneath him. "Incredible! This can change everything we know about biology," he exclaimed, his voice bubbling with enthusiasm. Eliana's heart swelled with pride at the sight of her team engaging with the new environment, the promise of discovery invigorating them. "Remember to collect samples," she reminded, but just as she spoke, a strange glow emerged from the horizon. Mysterious figures soon became visible, ethereal beings, shimmering and almost ghostly, their forms pulsating with a spectrum of colors that seemed to sync with the heartbeat of the planet itself. The Lumina, as the crew would later name them, were unlike anything they had envisioned. Tall and slender, with elongated limbs that moved fluidly, their translucent skin glowed with an inner light. "Are they welcoming us?" whispered Samara Patel, the empathic biologist with deep, soulful eyes and an infectious enthusiasm for life. Her brow wrinkled with both fear and intrigue, as her instincts honed in on the complexity of the beings before them. "We'll find out soon enough," Eliana replied, the twinge of unease in her stomach growing. Still, hope flickered within her. Perhaps this was the beginning of a new era where humanity could learn instead of conquer, forming alliances with the sentient inhabitants of this newfound world. As the crew attempted to bridge the gap between their species, an invisible barrier seemed to thwart their efforts. Communication was awkward, gestures felt inadequate, and the Lumina remained enigmatic, observing the humans with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "Why can't we fully understand their language?" Mateo shouted in frustration after another failed attempt involving exaggerated mime and drawings in the dirt, a practice that left the Lumina appearing more amused than enlightened. As dusk enveloped Kepler 22b in a kaleidoscope of purples and blues, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The initial wonder that enveloped Captain Eliana Ree and her crew as they first encountered the Lumina slowly morphed into an undercurrent of tension. The first few days of humble contact, characterized by an excitement to share knowledge with these ethereal beings, began to reveal an unsettling complexity. Eliana pondered the Lumina's strange, luminescent forms, delicate and otherworldly, yet inherently intimidating. Composed of a translucent essence that shimmered like liquid crystals, they glided effortlessly, their features vaguely humanoid yet perpetually shifting as if they were made of light itself. The crew had initially found their flowing movements mesmerizing, but as realities dawned, those same movements began to feel more reminiscent of a predatory grace. Mateo Sanchez's frustration boiled over during a failed communication attempt after several attempts to employ gestures and symbols from Earth's history. The Lumina responded only with an imitation of their motions, an echo without meaning. "Why can't we fully understand their language?" he shouted, his voice tinged with disbelief and stress. The air within their makeshift command center, a repurposed section of the horizon, crackled with the tension among the team, each member wrestling with their growing unease. Eliana, noticing the flickering lights of their equipment, felt the weight of command tightening around her, constraining her ability to lead effectively. "We need to adapt," she instructed, trying to project calmness despite the knot growing in her chest. Yet, with each passing hour spent exchanging gestures with the Lumina, doubt crept into her mind. Those luminous figures, seemingly benign, held an air of hidden depths, cloaked in the mystery of their biology and purpose. Nighttime experiments became their battleground. Under the cool glow of alien moons, the scientists worked tirelessly, extracting and analyzing samples of Lumina fibers and elements. The results were astonishing yet horrifying. Dr. Amara Singh, a tech specialist with a penchant for biology, urgently communicated her findings at one particularly frenetic meeting. "Eliana, the Lumina's biological structure, it's not just unique, it appears to possess an ability to assimilate foreign DNA. The human genomic sequences we've collected show alarming signs of splicing." Mateo, already on edge, exploded with panic. "We need to safeguard ourselves. We can't allow them to transform us." His eyes darted around the room, searching the faces of his team, looking for validation in their shared fear. The tranquil beauty outside their windows felt like a veiled threat. Shadows danced at the edges of their vision, turning the magnificent landscape of Kepler 22b into a frightening place. Eliana felt her heart race at the implications of Mateo's outburst. "What do we do if they mean to transform us? What happens to our humanity?" she countered, the words catching in her throat as they hung in the air, heavy with realization. Tension escalated into heated debates as team members grappled with the existential dread of being consumed by an alien force. A palpable silence fell as everyone absorbed the gravity of the situation. Eliana's mind raced, feeling the pressure of responsibility weighing her down. "Fear cannot cloud our judgment," she declared, but as she spoke, she wondered how genuine her own resolve was. "We need knowledge, understanding, we must learn their intent." Yet, within the team, despair began to fracture the fragile bonds of trust. Each new experiment watched with skepticism, shadows of doubt lurking in every corner, every whisper. As science collided with existential philosophy, the crew faced a disheartening conundrum. Was embracing the unknown a pathway of evolution or an unwitting surrender to an inevitable transformation? Exhaustion permeated their morale. Late into the night, the command center buzzed with a mixture of anxiety and fierce determination. They were driven by curiosity and fear, determined to grasp the truth hidden beneath the surface of their new reality. As the stars twinkled outside, Eliana could feel the fabric of human identity unraveling in their pursuit of understanding the Lumina. Days passed, filled with failed attempts at communication and unrelenting dread of being consumed by the Lumina's enigmatic nature. The crew's spirits were dwindling, and tension reached its zenith when a shocking event jolted them from their heavy despair. Samara Patel, the sensitive biologist who had grown increasingly enamored with the Lumina, disappeared. "Where is she? We need to find her," Eliana commanded, standing with clenched fists, determination sparking anew as panic spread among the team. "Everyone, split up and search the perimeter. We need to regain her before." Before she could finish, the sound of alien laughter echoed through the trees, reverberating against the walls of their vessel like hollow chimes. It was an eerie sound, both beautiful and haunting, as if the very essence of Kepler 22b was mocking their frantic search. Days turned into an agonizing blur of tension and anxiety, their unit now frayed and close to breaking. Just as they were on the brink of despair, Samara reappeared, but she was different. An unsettling transformation morphed her familiar features. Her once warm brown eyes shone with otherworldly brilliance, glowing with a luminescence that mirrored the very beings they sought to decipher. "Samara," Eliana gasped, her body filling with a mixture of relief and horror. "What happened to you?" But Samara stood tall, her voice infused with ethereal resonance. "You don't understand. I have seen things. The Lumina, they do not wish to destroy us. They want to elevate us. We can become something greater." Panic rippled through the crew as Samara's transformation encapsulated the ominous reality of existence on this alien planet. Eliana's heart pounded in her chest, a tumultuous mix of fear and disbelief. "What have they done to you? We need you back with us, not transformed. This isn't you. Why would you want to cling to what is so flawed as humanity?" Samara implored, her gaze unwavering, filled with fervor. The conflict within Eliana surged. Was her friend still in there, underneath the brightness, or had she truly become an emissary of the very forces that threatened to reshape their identities? The reality of Samara's transformation threw the crew into chaos. Decisions could no longer be postponed. Alliances were fracturing under the strain of conflicting ideals. The group prepared for an inevitable confrontation, one that would challenge not only their existence but the essence of humanity itself. Eliana stood before her crew once more, the weight of leadership heavy on her shoulders, but her spirit steeled against the encroaching darkness. "We will not be coerced into becoming something else," Eliana proclaimed, her voice strong, reverberating through the strained air. The tranquil ambiance of Kepler 22b had turned into a haunting melody, reverberating through the minds of Captain Eliana Ree and her crew. What should have been a marvel of discovery had become a labyrinth of uncertainty and fear, with dread lurking behind every shadow cast by the luminescent flora. Lush foliage twisted upward toward the stars, a radiant testament to the planet's otherworldly beauty, yet each leaf whispered of secrets. Just as the atmosphere thickened with despair, a shadow loomed over their sense of unity. Samara Patel, their once earnest biologist, had grown more enthralled with the shimmering Lumina, the ethereal lifeforms they had encountered just days prior. Initially, she had acted as a bridge between humanity and these beings, striving to decipher their alien language, to understand the motives of the flickering lights. But now, Samara had slipped away into the depths of the planetary wilderness, and with her, the hope of understanding seemed to vanish. Where could she possibly be? Mateo, with furrowed brows, paced the ship's command center, the dim blue lights casting eerie shadows against his determined visage. He had always been the team's pulse, the heart of its science, yet now the lifeblood he clung to was fading. The tightness of time pressed down on them as they scanned the vast terrestrial canvas outside the ship's viewport, a lush terrain dotted with mesmerizing bioluminescent bursts. Eliana steeled herself, her voice echoing with urgency. "We need to organize search parties," she commanded, her leadership echoing like a battle cry. "We cannot leave without her." Hours morphed into a grueling uncertainty as Eliana, Matteo, and two others combed through the vibrant biomes of Kepler 22b. The air was thick with intoxicating scents, verdant colors that seemed to pulse with life. Every rustle in the underbrush sent a jolt of anticipation through their veins. Time became a spiraling equation with no solution. Night fell without warning, draping the scenery in a velvet darkness speckled with the flicker of constellations. It was then, in the grip of despair, that they caught a glimpse of something, a figure. Samara stood at the edge of a crystalline pool, the moonlight refracting through the water like a multidimensional prism, illuminating her form. But this was not the Samara they had known. Her skin glimmered with a luminous quality, pulsating and radiant like a sky full of stars. "Samara." Eliana's voice broke through the silence, filled with a mix of relief and apprehension. "You're back." But when Samara turned, her eyes were not the familiar warm brown that had always held a spark of curiosity. Now, they glowed with an unsettling, otherworldly light. "Eliana," she said, the tone of her voice resonating deeper than any human cadence, reverberating in the air around them. It was mesmerizing yet chilling. "You must understand, I found something beyond comprehension." "What do you mean?" Matteo's voice quivered with the weight of the unraveling reality. "What have they done to you?" "I am more than I was," Samara continued, her voice layered with harmony and discord, as though speaking through a cosmic choir. "The Lumina are not our enemies. They offer us transcendence, an opportunity to become a part of something greater than ourselves." Eliana stepped back, her resolve hardening against the tide of fear that threatened to overwhelm her. "You don't have to do this, Samara. We can find another way." Desperation clawed at her throat as she grappled with the enormity of Samara's transformation. "We are human. We have our flaws, yes, but this is who we are." But Samara smiled, a soft, luminous smile that illuminated her face in unearthly hues. "That's exactly why this opportunity is so vital. Think of it. We could evolve, free from the struggles that have plagued humanity: war, disease, failure. We have been given a gift." Her voice climbed with fervor, echoing through the night and stirring the winds around them. Eliana could feel a rift forming, so stark it felt like the fabric of their camaraderie shredding apart. She glanced at Matteo and the others, uncertainty painted on their faces, mirroring her own turmoil. Should they abandon the fight for their identity? "Samara, listen to yourself. You're not just abandoning us, you're abandoning everything that makes us, us." Eliana cried out, her chest heavy with a mix of loyalty and despair. Yet, Samara continued with growing intensity. "The transformation is not just for us, it's for the universe. Imagine the knowledge we could gain, the memories we could share, an amalgamation that preserves what is worth keeping, while transcending who we were. You're scared of losing your humanity, but what if we are destined for more?" Caught in a whirlwind of emotions, Eliana's heart raced. Should they engage in a battle of wills with their own crew member? The stakes felt impossibly high, and the Lumina hovered in the periphery, their forms looming like specters, waiting for resolution. "Are you ready to be left behind?" Samara countered, "to cling to an existence filled with limitations? Would you abandon a chance at becoming part of the cosmos?" Her eyes sparkled with promises of wonders untold. Eliana felt a surge of determination rising within her, clashing violently with the seductive allure of Samara's proposition. "We need to stand together. You may believe in this, but I choose to embrace who I am, who we are. I won't allow this place to dictate my existence." Suddenly, the winds shifted, an electric tension crackling in the air as the stars above twinkled in response. The Lumina began to coalesce around them, enigmatic and shimmering, their presence igniting the atmosphere with an inexplicable energy. Their forms wove through the landscape, the celestial aura of blue and silver illuminating the conflict that had ignited between crew and a friend. "Samara, look," Matteo interjected, desperation lacing his plea. "You still have us. We're still here." But she shook her head slowly, the glow in her eyes intensifying. "You're not truly seeing. I can show you. I am learning from them, feeling more than I ever knew was possible." Panic gripped Eliana like an iron vice. "We can face whatever threats they pose together. This is not just your fight, it's ours." With every moment, the tension mounted, words cutting deeper than any weapon. The assembly of Lumina observed in haunting silence, a palpable anticipation crackling in the air. "Don't you see, Captain?" Samara's voice echoed with a strange clarity. The atmosphere inside the horizon had turned electric, each crew member feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down heavier than the metal of their vessel. Captain Eliana Ree paced in the dim light of the command room, her mind racing through the implications of Samara's transformation. Her heart was a storm of emotions. She knew they were at a precipice, one that could lead to an unfathomable leap into a new existence, or to their utter destruction. "Samara, you are one of us. Please, you can fight this." Eliana's voice cracked under the pressure, her resolve tested by the urge to save her friend and figure out a way to rescue them all from this alien influence. In response, Samara's luminescent eyes shimmered with a light that betrayed her ethereal change. "Why would you want to hold onto something as flawed as humanity? This is a chance to transcend. We could be so much more, Eliana." Her voice maintained a haunting beauty, echoing with the deep vibrations of the Lumina. Eliana clenched her fists, stepping forward. Just listen to yourself. You're not you anymore." The crew looked on, tension thickening the air until it felt suffocating. Dr. Matteo Sanchez, usually the first to offer optimism, looked instead with grave concern at Samara. "What if we lose you forever? You're not just a voice. You're part of our dream to understand this planet," he implored, filled with desperation. Samara's radiant form gleamed under the pale lights of the ship, yet beneath her glow, an echo of humanity lingered, fighting to break free. "I have seen the truth of existence," she murmured. "Here, in this realm, we find unity, not division. Their visions show you the universe in ways we can barely imagine." A deep rumble ran through the horizon as the alien environment directly outside began to shift, the flora pulsating with an unnatural rhythm. The crew watched in disbelief as ethereal light beams intertwined and danced in the air, illuminating the dark expanse of space beyond their hull. The unsettling reality was that they were being drawn, as if the very essence of Kepler 22b sought to entwine with them. "I won't let this happen." Eliana could feel the panic rise, a primal instinct to fight against the pull toward the unknown. "We cannot let ourselves be consumed." The debate spiraled into chaos as crew members confronted each other, caught between loyalty to their humanity and the seduction of a superior existence. "Do you really want to live out the same flawed cycle of existence?" clashed Alaric, the ship's engineer, a desperate look crossing his face. "Think of the possibilities. We could transcend the limitations of our biology and become something extraordinary." Waves of arguments crashed against the ship's hull, each voice rising in fervor. "Do you not see?" Romula, the AI technician, added, her tone pleading but firmer. "This is not just transformation. It is evolution, a chance to break free from millennia of conflict and suffering." Eliana felt her heart tearing, the face of her crew shifting into mirrors of her torment. They had always been united against external threats. Now the battle raged within their hearts and minds, transforming them into something entirely new. "We've been explorers, pushing boundaries, not destroyers of our essence," she shouted, fueled by instinct and desperation as the walls of their mission threatened to crumble around them. Suddenly, a violent eruption of energy filled the room, swirling them into a mesmerizing dance of light and sound. The walls reverberated, illuminating strands of pulsing energy interweaving between humans and Lumina. Eliana stumbled back, watching in horror as figures began weaving through the luminescent clouds, absorbing them into the iridescent tapestry. The pivotal moment charged the air with resonating fear and temptation, as the line blurred between acceptance and repulsion. Each crew member's gaze flickered back to Samara, witnessing her transformation as surreal beauty overshadowed the impending doom. Do you not crave to leave behind the pain of your past? Samara's voice, with the vibrancy of 1,000 stars, wrapped around Eliana like a silken ribbon. To become glorious beings without the shackles of fear? We were made for more. Join us. Be free. The luminosity of her form danced like fire in her eyes, blending the hint of longing to belong with an undeniable truth. Perhaps there was merit in her words, a chance to free themselves from a reality steeped in chaos. Eliana felt her heart betray her as ideas danced across her thoughts like distant star systems colliding. But deep down, she pressed against this revelation. As much as the allure of a perfect truth beckoned to her, she could not sever her ties to the past. We will not be coerced into becoming something else, we can evolve together. Can't you see the beauty in our flaws? Eliana burst forth defiantly, her voice a clarion call amidst the swirling chaos. The lights flickered violently, and for a slivered moment, the air grew still. Eliana's words hung, echoing in the shared consciousness where all were caught. The pulse of Kepler 22b surged, an indelible reminder of its desires intertwining with theirs. As the ship trembled, the shadows within it seemed to confound, coiling and unraveling like whispers of forgotten dreams. We stand on the brink of greatness, shouted Matteo, caught between the tempting embrace of the Lumina and his steadfast loyalty to humanity. Together, Eliana urged, gazing passionately into the eyes of her crew, we can forge a new destiny. The fervor in her voice matched the spark in her eyes, igniting the hopes held tightly within them all. Yet the throbbing energy shifted once more, reverberating through their minds like an unending riddle. Could this be the crucible, the moment where they finally shed their skin? Or would their humanity remain a stubborn remnant against the tide? As the luminous figures continued to call, entwining both beauty and terror in their songs, Eliana drew a sharp breath. Ambivalence flooded through her, a silent scream in the wide expanse of her consciousness, teasing the edge of oblivion. Each decision encased them further in uncertainty, their fates twisting with each heartbeat. And as the debate hung like starlight shimmering in the depths of space, so too did the secrets of the universe shimmer just beyond their grasp, waiting patiently for a decision that would reverberate through time and existence itself. The air around the heart of the incubator shimmered with an electric intensity as Eliana stood defiantly, flanked by her remaining crew. The ethereal energy swelled around them, vibrating with an otherworldly cadence that pulsed through their very beings. She could feel the Lumina watching, their forms flickering like flames against the dark canvas of the unknown. Eliana inhaled sharply, her resolve crystallizing. "Listen to me," she shouted, her voice piercing through the progressive hum of the incubator. "We won't be coerced into becoming something else, we can evolve together." The statement hung in the air, heavy with significance, daring the Lumina to respond. Matteo stood at her side, his brow furrowed in concentration. "We need to find a way to create a dialogue," he suggested, taking a step forward. "If the essence of both species can coexist within this process, perhaps we can activate an understanding rather than a transformation." The Lumina responded with a harmonious sound that reverberated through their bodies, a blend of musical notes and whispers, creating an echo that felt like a cosmic lullaby. Eliana glanced at Matteo, realizing their chances of survival hinged now not only on refusing the assimilation but on forging a pathway toward collaboration. "Let us become the bridge," Eliana urged, her eyes meeting the glowing forms of the Lumina. "We've come to understand the beauty in our diversity, and in that beauty lies the strength to unite. Show us a path, not of domination, but of partnership." A silence fell over the incubator, tension spiraling with doubt and uncertainty. The Lumina exchanged glances that shimmered with their spectral light, expressions even more ethereal than before. Slowly, one of the Lumina approached, its illumination brightening with each step. It extended a radiant tendril toward Eliana, and she felt warmth enveloping her like a soft embrace. In that moment, vivid visions flooded her mind. The Lumina's homeworld, the lush valleys, soaring crystal structures reflecting light in every direction, and vibrant life interwoven in its ecosystem. Then, she saw flashes of humanity's most profound struggles and triumphs. Cities bustling with hope, individuals embracing their quirks, cultures defined by resilience. "I understand," Eliana whispered, awash in the understanding that transcended language. The Lumina was not a force looking to erase but rather to transform so that love and connection could thrive, forming a mosaic of existence. "Together, we can achieve greatness unlike anything we've witnessed before." The tendril sparked, sending ripples across both species, merging their essences into one dazzling symphony of colors and light. Waves of energy pulsed outwards, enveloping her crew in a cocoon of brilliance as they stood together, reaffirming their identities. "We'll forge a new legacy," Matteo shouted, his voice resonating with excitement, as the blinding illumination enveloped them. In dazzling flashes, Eliana watched as the human form and Lumina energy intertwined, crafting a new identity, each participant retaining their essence yet becoming an integral part of something grander. A new way of being emerged, complex yet simple, a visual and emotional harmony that was indescribable. As the light receded, the crew gazed at one another, transformed yet grounded in their individual beings. Their skin now shimmered faintly with an iridescent hue, a symbol of their connection with the Lumina. And there, in that incandescent glow, was a sense of unity, a collective heartbeat pulsing through their bodies. Eliana turned to face the Lumina who had initiated the change. "What's next?" she asked, overwhelmed by the visceral energy of what had just transpired. The Lumina responded, a ripple in its form emanating warmth. "Now, you possess the knowledge of both. You are the harbingers of balance, the key to nurturing the bond between your worlds." With that affirmation, Eliana felt a surge of purpose invigorate her spirit. "Then let's explore the cosmos together. We'll become ambassadors, share stories, extend hands across the galaxy." The Lumina glided back, forming a circle with the crew, a pact binding them beyond fur and flesh, an ethereal connection that permeated their very beings. In the days that followed, Eliana and her crew explored their abilities. They moved with newfound grace, their connection to Kepler 22b deepening. Trees swayed gently in their presence, creatures once skittish now approached with curious eyes. The planet welcomed them as its own. But even amid the splendor, doubts lingered in whispered corners of the crew's minds. Are we truly evolving, or just drifting into a new form of captivity? Samara, who now blended an echo of her former self with the Lumina essence, challenged one evening as they sat atop the shimmering cliffs of Kepler 22b. Eliana reflected on the question as she gazed out at the swirling nebulae beyond, drowning in the colors of distant galaxies. "I think it's both," she replied thoughtfully. "Evolution requires vulnerability, and every path has its shadows. But we have the power to shape those shadows with our choices." As the stars twinkled above them, a sense of reminiscence enveloped the group. Each had transformed, yet none had forgotten the invaluable aspects of their humanity. They were unique clusters of experience and emotion, bonding over the trials and potential that lay ahead. The next day, they initiated the first intergalactic dialogue with other worlds, sharing their story of resilience and understanding. A celebration of life both organic and radiant, the legacy of the horizon solidifying in the fabric of the cosmos. And thus, in front of them lay the expansive unknown, brimming with uncharted endeavors. Through the cultivation of understanding and vulnerability, a pact formed by lives intertwined, elbowing their way through the vast and enigmatic universe. As the ship sailed onward into the star-speckled abyss, a fateful whisper curled through the air, gentle but omniscient, like a cosmic breeze saying, "Evolve, embrace, be reborn." In the endless dance of existence, Eliana and her crew understood that true evolution lies not in losing oneself but in finding harmony amid chaos. The legacy they forged would echo through the eons, reminding civilizations far and wide that their essence was a beacon in the deep shadows of the cosmos. A promise that in unity, every being could shine, irrespective of its origins. A legacy carved in the stars, loaded with the resurgence of possibility and perpetual mystery. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.